Now that our store's users have most of what they need to find the products they want, it's a good time to start adding the functionality to actually purchase them. The first part of that is to create a shopping bag to put things in, which we'll do in this video. This will take care of another of our user stories, allowing users to view items in their bag to be purchased. I'll start by creating a new app, bag, and adding it to installed apps in settings.py. As usual, we'll start with the simplest view, which will render the shopping bag page that as of right now doesn't exist. This is moving quickly because we've already done this several times and the method is still the same. All I'm doing is copying the view from the home app and changing its name, the template it returns, and its docstring. Let's create the appropriate template directories and the bag.html template. I'll begin again by copying the index template from the home app, since the shopping bag page will follow a similar structure, and I'll just remove the content block. Finally, I'll copy the home URLs file, create a new one in the bag app and paste it in, update the view, update the name, and then include the bag URLs in the project level URLs file. Next, let's head to our base template. Add the link to view the bag. And then do the same in the mobile version of the top header. Now we can start the server and make sure our links work. And we're off and running. Let's add a bit of content to the bag template. First, we need the overlay to cover up the background image. Beneath that, the layout will be similar to the products page, but it'll use a container instead of a container fluid. Inside the container will be 2 rows, each with a single column. The first row contains the shopping bag heading between a couple of horizontal rules, and the second column will contain a table to show the bag contents. We'll get to the details of this in a future video, but for now in this column I'm going to add an if statement because I only want to render the table if there's something in the shopping bag. This variable bag items will be created in the next step, but we can use it now to handle the logic for an empty shopping bag. If there are items in the bag, I'll render this table, and if not, let's just render a paragraph that says your bag is empty and give users a link back to the products page. Let's commit our changes before going further. I'll use a commit message of added shopping bag app, URLs, and template. At this point, we have a page to display our shopping bag, but we don't have any functionality to track what's in the bag. The first part of that functionality is going to live in a new file called context.py, which I'll create now in the bag app. For now, this file won't do much, but it will handle the bag items variable referenced a few minutes ago. Inside this file, I'm going to create a function called bag contents, which will take the request as a parameter. Instead of returning a template though, this function will return a dictionary called context, which we're about to create. This is what's known as a context processor, and its purpose is to make this dictionary available to all templates across the entire application, much like you can use request.user in any template due to the presence of the built-in request context processor. In order to make this context processor available to the entire application, we need to add it to the list of context processors in the templates variable in settings.py. I'll add that here with bag.contexts.bagContents. This simple change means that anytime we need to access the bag contents in any template across the entire site, they'll be available to us without having to return them from a whole bunch of different views across different apps. While I'm here in settings.py, I'm also going to add two new variables which will be used to calculate delivery costs: free delivery threshold and standard delivery percentage. I'll explain these in just a moment, but while I'm at it, I'm also going to update the base template to use the word delivery instead of shipping just to keep things consistent. Heading back to context.py, let's add a few things to the context. And by the way, this context concept is the same as the context we've been using in our views. The only difference is we're returning it directly and making it available to all templates by putting it in settings.py. First, let's create an empty list for the bag items to live in. I'll also eventually need the total and the product count when we start adding things to the bag, so I'll initialize those now to 0. Now, in order to entice customers to purchase more, we're going to give them free delivery if they spend more than the amount specified in the free delivery threshold in settings.py. Obviously there isn't any total yet, but once there is, I'll just need to check whether it's less than that threshold. If it is less, we'll calculate delivery as the total multiplied by the standard delivery percentage from settings.py, which in this case is 10%. I'm also going to wrap this calculation in the decimal function and import it at the top along with importing our settings file. I'm using the decimal function since this is a financial transaction and using float is susceptible to rounding errors. So just in general, using decimal is preferred when working with money because it's more accurate. For convenience, let's also let the user know how much more they'd need to spend to get free delivery by creating a variable called free delivery delta. This way we'll be able to entice the user across the site by letting them know they can get free delivery if they just buy a couple more items. If the total is greater than or equal to the threshold, let's set delivery and the free delivery delta to 0. Finally, to calculate the grand total, all I need to do is add the delivery charge to the total. The last step is simple. We just need to add all these items to the context so they'll be available in templates across the site. I'll add bag items, total, product count, delivery, free delivery delta, free delivery threshold, and grand total. With this finished, everything in this context will be available in every template, in every app, across the entire project. Now, just by looking at the home page, I can confirm that all this is working because there's a key piece of information displayed now. The free delivery threshold from settings.py is there, which means that our context processor is working since that's the only place in the app we're returning that variable. At this point, I'm going to commit my changes, and in the next video, we'll start the process of allowing users to add items to their shopping bag.